Okay, let's see. This is looking pretty wet. Okay. Just organize that real quick. Yeah, that's me clearing my throat. Whatever this cold is, maybe it was some strain of COVID. It's really sticking. Hi, my name's Jacob. I am here at my little recording studio, and I am the owner, woodworker of A-Fray Designs and Man's Woodworking, and live stream, which I do twice a week. Sometimes, I either restore old vintage tools or I carve pieces. Yeah, and a little bit of update last week. I was not able to do this live stream because I was at a hot dog eating contest. I compete in. I don't know how much of this is getting picked up. Yeah, I was at a hot dog eating contest, eating hot dogs. And now I am here, back, and just kind of talking gibberish because I don't really have a plan yet for the day. I have some notes about some owls, but mixing up the Tuesday tool time with Thursday critters and carving because I wanted to carve some critters today. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. A little update from last week. The tools that we were working on was I tried using it a little bit, but it's a little bit dusty. This is that Winchester trademark. I'm actually gonna head over to the other camera now. Hello. This is the Winchester trademark that I'd been restoring, and it has a fresh new coat of panning, just some layer of dust on it, and I rebuilt this handle here out of some walnut, and it's looking pretty nice. Cleaned off the front tote, and I just need to flatten the base of it, and this thing should be good to go. The more I got into this, the more I kind of realized that there was just some issues with this as a hand plane. Like I said when I was first making it that I thought this was the original iron and chip breaker that came with it. Whoa, I don't know what's happened. And it's not. This is a Stanley off of Stanley number 6 or number 7. It is a little bit too small for the Winchester, which has a 2 3/4 inch width, and this is more like 2.5. So it's a lot smaller than the aforementioned Winchester. Other things that are going on. So this is getting fixed up. I talked a little bit a while ago about my fever that I had, where I ordered a bunch of different hand planes, and that fever finally came into completion when all those hand planes started showing up. One of those was this really adorable block plane right here. It's really adorable wooden block plane. It's from Granite ECE, which is a German company. It's very nice. I think I'm going to keep this one and not try to resell it. But another one that came in that was very exciting to me. Oh, this old rusty bucket. Not to get myself tetanus without my gloves on. This beauty right here. This is a Type 6, I think, or 7, 4.5. A pretty rare find. These don't really exist anywhere, and I don't think that the person that was selling this lot really knew was, but in comparison, I have a 4 over here. I don't have a number 4 over here. It's in the garage. Find me. Got another 4 in this lot of a bajillion hand planes. This is the normal width of number 4, and this is the 4.5. A little bit longer in length, more of a wide width blade. Besides this rust, which is really just surface rust, it's in really good shape. The 10 totes I got from this rusty bucket were actually all in good shape, just a heavy amount of surface rust. But all of their totes were completely intact. And yeah, so that's a little bit of update of what was happening. Those of you that have been following along with the tool repair saga that I've been going on over this past month now. So today I'm gonna be actually doing critters and carving and not the usual Tool Time Tuesday, as I said in a little bit earlier, and that's because I'm almost done with this chest set. Last piece that I do need to come up with for this chest set is actually the pawns. Go back over to this screen, or I'm just going to make myself a little smaller. Alright, I'm a little smaller. I'm in the corner, and that's a good thing. No one puts Jacob in a corner, except for Jacob and baby. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, so as you can see here, I have my templates. I have this chessboard that I finished. This one is ready to be shipped. I have a few of these lying around. I want to use it for this video because I did. And the few chess pieces that I've been working on are, we have our Roadrunner right here, which you saw in the last video. Have the IIT Coyote, which we got right here. And this episode we're going to be working on the owl. I did a little pre-carving on this one, so got maybe a little bit ahead of myself. But this is what our boy the owl looks like, our girl the owl. And I've given it some dimensions. Nothing too crazy. The other issue I've been realizing with making these, because I make the actual base of them on the bandsaw, is that this maple is so dense and my bandsaw blade is so old and decrepit that it is kind of burning out a little bit. Yeah, thank you. The Roadrunner, I think the Roadrunner looks great. I want to adjust it a little bit. Its tail hasn't really, I don't love the tail yet, but we're getting there. Yeah, so the owl, and you can see there's some burn marks kind of along the sides of it. I think it's definitely more noticeable in the maple, because the maple should be kind of this light wood here, but it instead takes off this more darker appearance that is closer to actual walnut chess pieces, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for classic 2-color chess set here. So we got the owl. I updated the look of the jackrabbits a little bit to making these little cute guys. They're a nice look. Haven't quite carved them out yet, but this is just the base from the bandsaw. And as for people's suggestions, I went with a snake for the rook. Look at that. Look how cute that is. It's adorable. This is not a snake I would mind seeing out in the nature. Alright. No, this cold is killing me. Oh, shit. Some water there. Okay. Alright. So, I'm gonna just jump right into this. Start off doing some carving. They are super cute. I am planning on selling this chess set later down the line, but because I have plenty of chess sets here, and as much as I love them, I will probably be making these a lot, and I'm okay with moving on from them a little bit, but I want this still to be a good set that I can feel comfortable selling out in the world and have this as a template that I can use later down the line. Okay, where is my hand? Where am I going to be carving? Here? Great. Ooh. My hands are also very dirty. They've been stained because I've been restoring the tools in the afternoon, and it's just this constant stream of kind of metal. I try to wear gloves most of the time, but if I'm using a little brush, sometimes they rip, and I've been getting my fingers stained a little. But I hope that doesn't deter from the quality of the video. Alright. So the owl. Okay, I'm gonna clear off this space a little bit. Move these chess pieces to the side. And zoom in just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Alright, so the owl I chose for this bishop right here is the Great Horn. I chose this because one night when I was making these original pieces and kind of starting off with the design, I was going back and forth between my house way late at night and up above my workshop there's this kind of telephone pole, electrical pole, something like that, and there was this owl that I apparently interrupted mid-attack on something, and so I came outside and it kind of had its wings up in this like almost about to dive kind of formation, and we just kind of looked at each other for a minute. I couldn't see its eyes, but I'm sure it could see my eyes, and eventually I went kind of backed away and it took off onto its attack, but I noticed that it had these large horns on it, and I wasn't exactly sure why, because I didn't know that great horned owls actually lived down here. I knew they lived all over, but I figured it was mostly in forested areas. Looking more into it, I did find out that yes, in fact, great horned owls do live out in the deserts. And they like those rocky areas, anything that kind of is adjacent to sort of being kind of like a forest works great for them. So that's why I decided great horned owls. It's like many of these things, they're just things that I see around my house. I got jackrabbits, snakes, owls, lots of roadrunners and coyotes too. Okay, just gonna get carving then. Start. This one's any reference. Just want to give it a good amount of shape. Try to get all these angles kind of curved, except for the back of the ears. Give it a little bit of neck here. So I have been noticing and getting messages from YouTube that the sound quality that I might be sending out is not quite the same as the sound quality that is being received. And I was curious from the viewers if you have noticed anything or if there's any static or buzzing, because on my side it sounds fine, but I do not know if in the live stream it is as okay. So, got anything to say about it? Say it. I will try to adjust it best of my ability, which is not a lot because I am not a proficient sound editor. So, I mentioned that I first started thinking about this piece when I saw an owl perched up on the telephone line, looking down at me, and I knew it could see me, but I couldn't really see its eyes. So, great horned owls have gigantic yellow eyes. It's one of their more notable qualities is their large eyes. That doesn't really sound too crazy for owls. There is static when you talk, but it goes away when you stop talking. Interesting. Okay. Let's try adjusting this right here. And bringing this down a little bit. Range. Okay, that's not good. That's gonna mess me up. Okay. I need this to pick up as much sound as possible, so we're gonna take it all the way to the limit. Okay. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So, as I was saying, great horned owls have huge eyes. It really varies from owl to owl, but for a little bit of perspective, a great horned owl, when it's fully grown, weighs about 4 pounds. It stands about 1.5 to 2 feet tall, and its eyes make up about 5% of its entire body. So someone that can do fast math can tell me exactly how much of the owl's body that actually is. It's still there, huh? Maybe it's just this mic. Hello, mic. Let's see if I can add a little bit of filter onto this threshold gain. I'll put the gain down just a little bit. Maybe there's less static in Russia. I don't know. 0. Okay. Is anything coming through now? Oh, we'll keep working at it. Yeah, it's still there. Well, can only do so much and actually still carve. I will start messing with it though. If it's still there now, I've tried all the things I can do in this moment here, other than adjusting this actual tool as a microphone. There might just be some buzz coming through. It also might be because my computer is very loud and it's picking up that as well. Carving little buddies. Yep, carving here a little great horned owl. Maybe I should move my hand over here so it's more in frame. Yeah, so their eyes are total of 5% of their entire body, which their entire body is only 2 pounds, but in comparison, a human, their eyeballs, I'm a human too, wink, our eyeballs are only 0.003% of our body. So, I don't know if that means anything to you, but that seems significant to me how large these eyeballs of these little birdies actually are. And that is good because most of their hunting happens in the evening, where you're gonna need to have good night vision. I'm gonna try to make this carve and not cut my finger and also talk about owls at the same time. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, you can see here in this little carve, I made a little line where I want the wing to be, and so I'm gonna carve this little section in, trying to get rid of this little bit here and give it more of a pronounced wing structure. But it's kind of a weird angle to be carving in. And I am definitely no expert carver. Not by a long shot. I don't really know the correct way to hold a carving blade without, like, what I want to do is really just get my fingers in there, but I don't want to be cutting up my hands at the same time. Yeah, because these knives are very sharp. I spent a good amount of time right before the show getting the knives all ready to be used. See here, I'm kind of in a weird spot. I'm gonna be carving over here. I'm just gonna move my little camera face. Ah! There we go. Yeah, it's kind of in a weird spot, and I really just don't want to chip away at my hand. I do enough damage to that hand during the day. Mess with enough rust and metals and wood and sandpaper that any more might just push it over the edge and my hands might just give up. Yeah. So as I was saying, owls have very, very large eyes, and they have a couple of different adaptations that actually serve them very well and give them the most amount of use of those very large eyes. So one thing they can do is, in their two different pupils, they can actually dilate them separately and have full control over that. So if they are hiding in camouflage, kind of like I am now, where I have half my face behind this tree and half my face is looking at the light, they can dilate their pupils to adjust to the different light that they see in front of them. And this gives them a distinct advantage over pirates, which had to wear eye patches when going below deck. And as you know, pirates and owls had a consistent rivalry that is well documented throughout history. I don't know if that's true. I'm making that up because I know that sailors in the days of yore had to wear eye patches, or chose to wear eye patches, when they would go above and below deck, and that would help them adjust to the light changes and give them an advantage to walk around in the dark depths of the underbelly of the ship. Ah, look at that. Little bit of work. Now this little birdie has a little wing. Oh. Very cute, very cute. And give a little curve here. So, yes, owls have very interesting eyes, and they actually don't move either, which is pretty cool. Unlike human eyes or most other eyes in the animal kingdom, owls cannot move their eyes because they're so big. It's basically like this big cone that goes into the back of its skull, and it's all connected to its skull, its eyes, its pupils, not pupils, the thing behind the eyes, you know, the whole cones are all connected into the skull to give it basically this high definition super camera that has instantaneous adjustments on it. But because of that, they lose their ability to be able to move their eyeballs around. And that gives them some other adaptations that they did to adapt to that. Was they have that really kind of creepy head movie thing, and Without looking it up, can anyone in the comments guess how many degrees an owl can rotate its head? Because we all know an owl can rotate its head more than a human. Unless you don't know that, then an owl can rotate its head more than a human. I'll give you a hint though, it is not 360 degrees. Give this guy a little bit more of a neck here. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's a nice side. Got a nice back tail to it. Nah, I want this head to be a little bit more curved. Okay, any guesses out there? Maybe some will come in a little bit later. 300? That is a good guess. It's a solid guess. That'll be a one and only guess. Okay. Maybe I'll reveal it at the end of the episode. As far as The Exorcist. No, it is not. It's less than The Exorcist and more than a statue. It's somewhere in between Exorcist and human. So the amount that an owl can rotate their head is a total of 270 degrees. And it's basically kind of this like rack and pinion locking mechanism where their head kind of rotates and all their organs kind of like tick, 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 do this kind of gear system thing going on, and that allows them to move their head that amount without impacting their internal organs, or cutting off any blood flow to their head. 270, yes, 270. Was that your guess? Hey, that is a good guess. You win best owl fact guesser of the evening, probably of the whole day. I don't think anyone else on Earth today has guessed that answer or known that answer correctly and had to answer it. You're the only person, which is cool. Okay, I'm gonna just try to match what I did on this side with the other side, but like I was talking about in the beginning, the same problem kind of persists where eventually I'm gonna have to find some way to get rid of this burning that's on the outside of the owl. And sandpaper would work, but it leaves this kind of rough surface that I'm not totally a fan of, because the blade itself leaves a very nice clean surface, and just not excited about that. It might be just the way it has to be in order to actually make the piece look the way I want, or closest to the way I want. But we'll see. Okay, I was talking about owl eyes. Sure was. Got a little wing here. I'm gonna keep moving down this owl, sharing the fun facts about the its neck. Oh, I forgot about its little feathers. Its horns. Its actual thing that gives it the name, the Great Horned Owl. These aren't ears. These are just tufts of feathers. They're oh my god, what are they called? Promenades or something? Promenades? Something like that. It's something kind of like a formal name. It's not prom. I'm forgetting off the top of my head right now, but they are there to basically ward off. Hey, good to see you, Ish. They're basically there to either ward off enemies, to confuse its different hunters that would be hunting it, confuse its prey to make it look like it's going to blend in with the trees or surroundings. It's used to, do like mating rituals and stuff like that. Like, they're just kind of there to be like a show, like a show off. And the better the owl's tufts, the better chances it has at finding a mate and better job of blending in. So they're not there to really hear anything, and they don't really help much in hearing anything either. Sure does. Oh, have y'all heard that joke about the two penguins that also have ears? But the owl's ears are right underneath these little tufts, and they're kind of like in this little spot right there. And they're actually at different heights and depths from the front of the owl's face. So the one on the right might be a little bit higher and farther back. The one on the left might be a little bit lower and farther forward. And the reason behind this is they basically, in the tiny little space that's an owl's face, which is anywhere from like 5 to 8 inches, I'm gonna get through this and I'm gonna share a really, really solid joke that I think y'all have never heard before. And so they're pretty much using this like triangulation where they are hearing a sound, and the amount of time that it takes for the sound to get to one ear and the difference between it hitting the other ear, it is able to locate precisely where a creature is hiding or crawling around. And it can do this in complete darkness. Its eyes will allow it to kind of see the terrain, but it doesn't necessarily have to see the creature that it's hunting. It can just hear it, and it'll know exactly where it is and will be able to swoop in for attack. Okay. Oh no, I'm grabbing this knife. I don't need that knife. So, one of the chess pieces that I don't have here are penguins, but I probably should have, because one of the greatest jokes of all time is about penguins. And so the way it goes is there are two penguins, and they're canoeing through the desert. They're canoeing, they're going along, and the penguin in the front turns to the penguin in the back and says, "Where's your paddle?" And the penguin in the back says, "Sure does." Yep, that's the whole joke. Okay, if you didn't understand why that's so funny, I'll tell it again. So there's two penguins canoeing through the desert. The penguin in the front turns to the penguin in the back. And the penguin in the front says, "Where's your paddle?" And the penguin in the back says, "Sure does." Get it? Anyway, anyways, moving on. Yeah, so they have these two different ears at different levels of their head, and they use that to locate prey. And they're not really a picky eater either. Owls kind of just eat whatever. They are very opportunistic hunters, so they'll eat voles, mice, rodents, rabbits, cats, raccoons, spiders, lizards. They'll pretty much eat anything that they... Trombone sound. Wah, wah. Yeah, they'll pretty much eat anything that they can find. They'll eat carrion. Speaking of carrion, why don't they let lions onto planes? No, nothing. I'll tell you why. It's because they eat all the carrion. Boom. So, but owls are also not allowed on planes because they also eat all the carrion. Oh yeah, keep curving. So they'll eat everything, anything, and they use their ears, their eyes to hunt. Their faces are kind of this like flat pan face, and it's actually underneath all of its tufts of fur, it's a little bit concave, and it pretty much acts like a satellite dish, and that also allows it to hear and locate its prey a bit better. It'll eat pretty much anything. So like I said, it's a 4-pound bird. It stands about a foot high, and it will eat things and carry things away that can be up to 2 times its body weight. Hey, thanks. Look at that. It is turning into looking like a little owl, isn't it? I have noticed that this goes a lot faster when I'm not talking a lot, but I do enjoy talking about critters. They are one of my favorite things to talk about. Alright, a little owl. We got a little owl wing there. Gonna try to clean it up a little bit more. So they'll eat anything that's anywhere from these tiny little rodents like voles and stuff like that, little lizards, to other birds. They will challenge other larger birds like other falcons. The owls, this great horned owl is in the raptor family. It'll challenge other falcons, other raptors, pretty much anything to a fight if it's hungry enough. They're kind of bold animals, and they usually win because owls actually have one of the more powerful grip strengths out of the raptors, especially for its size. So its grip strength is about 300 foot-pounds, and any climbers out there know what the average amount for a human rock climber in grip strength. I know a handful of you have probably taken a grip strength test in the past. Does anyone measure up the great horned owl? Just give me a second to answer because there's a delay in the video. We're almost there. So, along with their very powerful grip strength, they also have really unique feet in comparison. Sorry, I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, just need to get into this spot, but I need to focus a little bit. They also have a really unique feet in general. So, most raptors, I'm going to zoom out, or I'll just go in this camera here. So most raptors kind of have this talon claw with a back claw. Maybe it's like a few, and they have this kind of shape, and they'll come down and they'll grab little bunnies and stuff like that and carry them away. I can't do it with my hand because I'm not now, so I'll do it with two hands. They have like this kind of system here, and they can like rotate their claws depending on what formation they need. So if they're grabbing a branch, they'll use 2 and 2. If they are grabbing like, I don't know, it's a small critter, they'll use like 4, like that. This is one of their feet, by the way. So they can like rotate their feet in order to get the best grabbing position that they need in order to get the prey that they're trying to get. Which is neat. Oh no, I'm in the bottom corner now. Okay. Oh, a lot to talk about owls and only a little bit of time left. Okay. I'm gonna say that this piece is pretty much done. Ooh, I actually want to give it a little bit of feet. Also, Bambo. And I think it was you. Gave a suggestion for a little Snick as the bishop. Well, I give you Snick. That's a little cute guy. Look at him. I'm very stoked on this, and now there's a bunch of Snicks. They're all over the place. I'll show you actually my first design of Snick, which was terrible. I tried to do a coil kind of action, and it kind of just looked like a, I don't know, like a, I don't even know what that looks like. We have studio, disconnecting, reconnecting. Okay, I don't know if the stream just like died or what happened, but okay, I'm gonna be using this little tool here. Do I have a final one? No. Okay, I'm gonna try to use this tool here and give the owl a little bit of some feet. I'm back on. Something happened where it just said it disconnected. I think my internet might have just given a little short circuit or something. Maybe like the software updated. Show goes on anyways. I'm gonna have to bend that one back. Okay, that's fine. Tough to give talons. Yeah, something's going on with my internet out here. I'm not really sure what it is, but it is what it is. Okay, come on, zoomy lens. Alright, try to give it feet. Didn't quite come out well. I'll try again on this one. Boy. Oh, that turned out way better. Okay, it's first try is always bad. Alright, let's see if that comes out in the camera. Look at that! It's got little feet, little footsies. Owl wisdom. Yeah. And a wisdom piece that an owl would give would probably be watch. They're big old watchers. Okay. I don't know what happened with the internet there. Kind of did a weird thing, but I believe we are back and we are live again. And I'm moving on to the next owl. We were talking about its hunting, how it takes carrion on planes, and also its face, more about how it hunts, what it eats. And I totally lost track of what exactly I was talking about. Its claws! Yeah, its claws. Okay, so it has its little claws. It was able to move them around. It has a grip of that 300 foot-pounds. And it doesn't have like a high speed, unlike a lot of other raptors. It more has a silent speed. So its top speed when it's flying is about 40 miles per hour in comparison to our Roadrunner, which, if you remember, was about 27 miles per hour. So it's just a little bit edging out the Roadrunner here. Is able to go on most major roads, but a Roadrunner is perfectly fine in most residential areas and school zones. So the owl with its 40 mile per hour top speed isn't that impressive, but it is a silent flyer. So its feathers kind of have this different type of shape instead of classic feathers, where each one of the feather bits on the feather has these kind of spirally curved ornamental look to them, that when it goes through the air, it doesn't leave any turbulence, and instead of leaving some kind of whooshing sound, it just glides through the air silently. So unlike other raptors that have the benefit of speed when they are diving down onto an animal, the owl does not, but that doesn't really matter because its prey can't actually hear it coming. So they don't really worry too much about speed. They just kind of do what they're gonna do in a very opportunistic way. They just wait, they watch, and then they strike. And that's kind of similar in all things that it does. We just transitioned into how owls have their youth, and when they do have little owlings, owl babies, it'll usually only be 1 to 4 little baby owls every year, because they have a very slow incubation process, especially for birds. It's like a month, or like a bird's around this size, it's about a month, and they will also keep the bird around for another couple months in order to teach it how to hunt and teach it the skills it needs to survive. And in that time, they are not really picky. They're very opportunistic with where they are gonna have their family too. As long as it's somewhere between 20 and 60 feet above the ground, kinda. That's also a pretty loose qualification. As long as it's 20 and 60 or 60 feet above the ground, they'll pretty much roost or nest. Not roost, that's for roosters and chickens. They will pretty much nest anywhere. And so if they find an old nest of some kind of larger bird, if they find a hole in a tree, if someone put a box way up in the air, they will just take that place and make it their home. They won't really make any adjustments to it. They just will settle in and start existing into that place. A lot of other birds, even ones that do take over other nests, will usually add a little bit of their own personal flair to that area to make it more their own. But owls just do not care. They will nest anywhere, they will eat anything, they kind of just do whatever they are gonna do without a care in the world, which makes them a very adaptable animal, and probably makes sense why they exist here in the desert in the first place. Desert is home to a lot of really adaptable creatures, but the desert owl is pretty much found. They are badasses, and there's a kind of tough decision when I was choosing between, where are you? The owl and the coyote, for the king or the queens of this area, because the owl is also a piece like the coyote, or is it also an animal like the coyote that is found all over North America, all over, not the world, but really in pretty much every forest in North America, and some in South America, but pretty rare. And that's because they're just such an adaptable creature. They're very opportunistic, they're very clever, and they're very patient and able to adapt to pretty much any environment that you put them in. Which is probably one of the reasons why they are called the Great Horned Owl, because they are such a great owl. That also makes me wonder why coyotes are not called the Great Coyotes. That name just does not ring the same way, I guess. They also don't have horns or any kind of distinct features. Unless there was a coyote running around that had horns and you could call it the Great Horned Coyote, but not really the same thing. Let's see. Got some notes here about the Great Horned Owl. I think that's all I actually wanted to talk about. They got the feathers, they got the builds. What about the honey badger? I am not sure in what environments the honey badger actually lives, other than on people's t-shirts and in the internet sphere. Can you tell me where honey badgers actually come from? Where is their home of origin? Walnut is such a wonderful wood. So nice to work with. I understand why it is so god dang expensive. Gives you all the benefits of a wood like maple, which is the other wood I'm working with, but it is just so easy to work with. It's a very agreeable type of lumber. What about the honey badger? I don't know where the honey badger comes from. I've never seen a honey badger in the desert. If you can find me a honey badger in Joshua Tree, I will add it to the chessboard. But until then, chessboard remains desert creatures. Honey badgers and oh god. While the show is wrapping up, thank you all for coming and hearing about owls, great horned owls this week. And next week we can either do snakes or jackrabbits. I don't really have a camera that's facing down there, but I'll just hold it up. So we have our jackrabbits, our little nocturnal jumpers. I think their name is Lepicus californicus. It's something like that. I know that sounds like a very silly almost made up name, but it is something like that. It's something like Lepus californicus. If you want to hear about Lepus californicus next week, send me a message, write a comment on this video. And if you want to hear about snakes next week, this is obviously a large-headed baby rattlesnake, and sorry, I was reading the comments. And if you want to hear about this, which is the Slitherus badassicus, then we can hear about this next week. So write in the comments which one you want to hear about in the next Critters and Carving, and I will make that happen. Back up in the corner. Whoa, 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 whoa. On the next episode, so instead of doing Critters and Carving on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing, or on Thursday, I'm going to be doing Tool Time Thursday, this Thursday. And so I'll be talking about some of the planes that I'm restoring, and also going over this lot of planes that I got in the mail from my eBay feverish dream that I had, where I ordered and placed a bunch of bids on hand plane lots and got them all. So that'll be this Thursday. Okay, and it looks like next Tuesday, just gonna switch it up, and we're gonna do Tool Time Thursday and Critters and Carving Tuesdays. We're gonna do snakes on Tuesday, and then next Thursday we'll figure out what we're doing then. But now, got some out carvings done. Got 3 of the 4 out carvings done. This chess set is coming together slowly but surely. If you liked this live stream, be sure to share, comment, do all the things that you know helps these small creators. If you need any woodworking done, you can also send me a message or check out my website at afraiddesigns.com. The wait is a long time right now because I have a lot of projects, but if you have some custom furniture needs, be sure to reach out. Thanks all for spending some time with me and learning about owls, and I'm excited to talk about snakes next Tuesday. Alright. And with that, I'll hide behind this. And I hope you have a good night. Have a nice dinner. Drink coffee at 11 o'clock at night. Stretch. Put on sunscreen before bed. Wear sunglasses inside while watching TV. These are all sound pieces of advice that you would get from an owl. Okay, that's the end of the show. Thanks all, and good night. But there's a 30-second delay, I think. So I'm going to wait awkwardly, because I haven't figured out how to do a fade out yet. But I'm getting hearts, so I assume stream is done.